Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. I hope y'all are having a lovely day. It's looking a little nasty outside, but we getting it. And your girl is looking good. My makeup is making me very happy today. I'll have details in the description box below if you're curious about my beat. Today we have more bookish things. I told y'all you were getting more bookish content in 2023, and I plan to keep that up. Those of you who have been engaging with and loving my bookish content, I appreciate you. If it's something that you want to keep seeing, make sure you keep commenting, all that good stuff, letting your homegirls know, because I'm going to try to be more consistent with it this year. So today, I'm going to be talking about 23 books that I want to read in 2023. These are all 23 books that have been sitting on my physical TBR, on my shelf, that have been neglected, unread, all that good stuff. So I am really challenging myself to try to finish the books that are on my shelf. I purchased a lot of books because I reread most of my books. I'm big on my physical collection, and I want to make sure that I'm also reading the things that are on the shelf. I finished 120 books last year, and almost all of those were physical copies. So I read a lot, but I also buy a lot. So these are all 23 books on my physical TBR that I want to read in 2023. I'm going to tell you why I haven't read them, and I'm going to tell you why I'm excited to check them out. So if you are interested in seeing my 2023 physical TBR, then just keep on watching. This author actually penned one of my least favorite books like ever, and definitely of 2022. Series I got into around October, and I finished the first one, and I don't know why, but I just can't pick up the second one. Like, I don't want to hate the rest of the series because I love the first book so much. And that is The Queen of Nothing. I read The Cruel Prince in October, and I loved it. The world, the political intrigue, the characters. I cannot tell you guys how much I love Jude. She's one of my favorite FMCs, especially in YA fiction. She just, like, gives no fucks. She's hardcore. She fights for what she wants. She fights for her family. I feel like people hype this up as a romance, and this is not a romance book, y'all. This is way more political intrigue. There is like a little bit of a romance subplot, but like the male main character is a bully. He's an asshole, you know? So I would not consider this to be a romance book. And I feel like a lot of people go into this series disappointed because they think that it's going to be romance. It's not that. I am so excited to see what happens with Jude and Cardan, because I feel like Cardan is about to act a whole freaking fool. The first book was so good. I read it in a day and a half. I couldn't put it down. Like, it was just too good. And I've been so afraid to get into the next one because I'm like, what if I don't like it as much? You guys know sometimes the sequel is just like, why did we do this? So I'm really excited to check it out. This is The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. And this is the second book in the Cruel Prince trilogy. This is a recent addition to my collection. I picked this up at the end of the year. This is Pride and Protest by Nikki Payne. And there was a lot of hype around this book, and when it came out, I instantly went ahead and picked it up. A woman goes head to head with the CEO of a corporation threatening to destroy her neighborhood, and this fresh and modern retelling of Pride and Prejudice by debut author Nikki Payne. I'm really excited to read this. It sounds like it's going to be Pride and Prejudice with a modern BLM twist, and I'm really excited about that. I've never read anything from Nikki Payne, but everything about this book just gave me lots of interest, and I do enjoy the original story of Pride and Prejudice. So Pride and Protest by Nikki Payne, can't wait to get into her. When I was little, I was a Princess Diaries girly, and I don't think that's ever really going to go away. And so I'm really hyped to get into this, and I really told myself I have to read this soon because the sequel is coming out. This is American Royalty by Tracy Livesay, and y'all, the cover. I picked this up actually right after I read The Princess Trap by Talia Hibbert. I loved that book so much. Like, I've turned into a Talia Hibbert stan, but like, I loved The Princess Trap so much, and I'm really excited to get into this. A female rapper and a prince. Yeah, I need that. Next up, Revive Me by J.L. Seegars, y'all. I am both excited and terrified to get into this book because Everyone who's been talking about this has said that it has been emotionally damaging. Revive Me is the second book in the New Haven series. You guys know I have been talking about Restore Me like crazy. Like, that has been one of my favorite romance books of all time. And this is the next installment in that series. This is about Mallory, who is Sloane's sister-in-law, and Chris, which is her old guy from college. And there was so much surrounding Mal and Chris's story that she had to break this up into 3 parts. So I have Revive Me Part 1, and I also have Revive Me Part 2 sitting in a stack over on my nightstand because I'm going to be doing a book haul. I don't know what y'all are going to get first. I don't know if y'all are going to get the haul first or this first, but I do own that as well. I can't wait to get into this because J.L. Seegars' writing has me hooked every single time, and I love Mallory. She is just like a spitfire. She's vibrant, and she's a little crazy, but you can tell that she loves really, really hard. So I am excited to see everything that comes with Mal and Chris's story. We got a little bit of them in Restore Me, and I can't wait to get the full thing. So I'm hyped to read this, although a little scared. I feel like I'm probably going to need like a nice stiff drink and some Kleenex when I'm reading this. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about these two together because these are 2 Black YA fantasies that I have been wanting to get into for a while. This first one was a birthday gift from my mama. This is Blood Like Magic by Liselle SAMBURY, and I can't wait to get into this. I've heard so many people talk about it. Do I know what it's about? No. But do I know that there is a beautiful Black girl on the cover? Yes, and that is why I bought it. People talk about this all the time, and there's something about Black fantasies with blood in the title. I don't know, but they be slapping. And then I also have been hyped to start The Beast of Prey by Ayana Gray. This is another one that is heavily talked about. Just in general, people love this book. So I went ahead and purchased the first one. The only reason I haven't purchased the second one is because they don't have the new cover out in paperback, and I like my shit to match. So I'm waiting. I think the paperback version of the new cover comes out in like June or something. So I will also be reading that, but this is one that I've heard a lot about. Don't know much about the synopsis, but I know there's Black people and magic, and there's a Black girl on the cover. So I read the first 2 books in this series last year, and I had kind of put off finishing it because people seem to have a visceral reaction towards this installment in that series. This is the 3rd book in the Twisted series. This is Twisted Hate by Huang. And this is about Josh and Jules. So if you don't know anything about the Twisted series, this is a contemporary romance series of interconnected standalones. So the first one is Twisted Hate. That is Alex and Ava. The second one is Twisted Games, which is Bridget and Reese. And then this one is Josh and Jules. So all of these interconnected standalones follow this group of 4 young women, and they're kind of twisted partners. This kind of brings it back a little bit to Twisted Love because Josh is Ava's brother and Jules is Ava's best friend. And you're kind of introduced to their very much hate catty relationship in Twisted Love. I'm really excited to read this because I don't know, I really liked Jules in the first book, but I wasn't that big of a fan of Josh. I just felt like he was the kind of guy that I really hated in college. I'll just be honest. His type was the type that I could not stand. So this book gets a lot of visceral reaction when people talk about it. And it kind of sounds like for good reasons. That the things that happen in this book have already been a little bit spoiled for me. But I'm still excited to read it. Right now, Reese and Bridget are my favorite out of what I have read. And I also have gotten the 4th book in the series. Y'all will see that in a haul and we'll talk about that. But I have been really holding out on purchasing and reading this for a hot minute just because of, like I said, the visceral reactions that people have to this book. But I was like, bitch, you need to finish the series. And I wanted to have all the books on my shelf. So that is Twisted Hate by Huang. I also have 3 more fantasy series that I want to work on. The first one is Cuddle Witch by Nnedi Okorafor. And I am really excited to get into this. I own all 3 of the books and have not cracked them open. I kind of had to chill out on fantasy because at the beginning of the year, I had like fantasied my brain to death to the point where I was like, I need to start putting in some like lighthearted, fluffy palette cleansers or throw some smut in there because like my brain was starting to like explode with all the different magic systems and world building. So, I was supposed to complete this trilogy last year, but I'm going to be completing it this year. I'm really excited to read it. I love anything that, you know, has that West African folklore, all those good things in it. And I have the feeling that I'm really going to love this. I've heard really great things about it. So I'm excited to read this. You guys let me know if you have started this series or you finished it. Let me know. What do you think? And then this was suggested by a few of you guys. I picked up the first book, but I haven't cracked it open, but I need to because it sounds so good. And I feel like the longer I wait to start reading, the more I hear people talking about it. This is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. And a lot of people have told me that if you are trying to graduate from the Throne of Glass series from Sarah J. Maas, that this is a really great one to get into, and I am super excited. So many of you have told me that this is fantastic. There are 4 books in this series, and I do intend to get the other 3 from this series, but I'm really excited to start it. I don't think I'm trying to decide which one I'm going to start first. Either this or Jade City by Fonda. This is another one that you guys suggested to me. And I think many of you who suggested Ember in the Ashes also suggested Jade City. Oh my goodness. Ellie must have been rubbing on my books. Oh my God. I literally just finished like vacuuming this room and everything because she is so hairy. She must have been rubbing on my book stacks. But yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Cat life. But I think this is supposed to be rooted more so in like East Asian. Yeah, this takes place in Hong Kong. So I am really excited to check this out. I love books that focus on Asian culture. I really want to get into the Daughter of the Moon Goddess this year because one, that book is so pretty, but I've been wanting to pick that up for a while. But this is one that you guys have been telling me I need to get into forever. So I'm finishing off a couple of books, and I think I'm going to start this and another book that I'm getting ready to show you guys. But I think I'm going to start this week. Either this or this. I haven't decided. You guys tell me, what do you think I should start with? Either Jade City or Ember in the Ashes. I don't know. I'm torn. Now, on to hardcovers. Like I said, 23 books. It's a lot. I love a good hardcover book. I'm a hardcover whore, okay? I own it. I love hardcovers. Don't get me wrong. I like a good floppy paperback, but I love me a good hardcover. And so I have a shit ton of hardcovers to share. The first one is a sequel to a book that I absolutely love. This is the Merciless ones by Namina Forna. This is another YA fantasy that is kind of deeply rooted in West African culture. And the end of the first book was like, whoa. And I don't know, I kind of get in this place where like I will read the first book in a series and then I'm almost terrified to get into the next books. And that's kind of how I felt about this. I also need to go back and just kind of do a little bit of refreshing about what happened in the first book because there's a lot of world building. There are a lot of different characters that are very important in this story. And so I want to refamiliarize myself with the magic system in the world in this book, but I'm so excited to read it. The first one was like insane, so good. This is YA, but there are really touchy subjects in here. This is kind of bloody, kind of gory, so definitely check your trigger warnings. If you're picking this up for like a teen or something, you want to get them a good YA fantasy, I highly suggest it, but you probably want to definitely double check and make sure that it's something that your kid will be comfortable with because there is a lot of war, a lot of fighting. there's some slavery in here. It can be a little difficult, okay? So just be aware of that. Make sure you're checking your content warning. One I picked up in October. And I am really excited to read this. I mainly picked it up, one, because I was really excited about the book coming out. It had a pretty big push when it was being discussed being released. But I also got this for the cover. This is Belladonna by Adalyn Grace. How beautiful is this? Signa opened her eyes and death was there before her, watching, waiting. His presence was intoxicating and familiar, and it took Signa by surprise as it always did. Writhing shadows cast into the vague shape of a human, so dark and void of light that it was painful to look at him, and yet looking at him was all Signa could do. All she could ever do. She was drawn to him like a moth to a flame, and so, it seemed, was he to her. I'm really excited about this, and I think the sequel is confirmed. I believe it's called Foxglove, and that is equally pretty. But I had to go to Barnes & Noble and get the Barnes & Noble edition because look at how beautiful this is. How stunning is that? This came out with so many different special editions from so many different book boxes and Barnes & Noble and different retailers across the globe. I am so excited to get into this. It just has that, I don't know, that dark kind of, you know, middle school Twilight vibe without the ickiness of Stephenie Meyer. So I'm really excited to get into this. This is a YA fantasy, and I definitely want to make sure I have this finished before the second book comes out because I already know I'm going to buy it. I already know. It's been sitting on my shelf for a minute. I have neglected to read it, but I need to because the sequel to this book is coming out this year. This is Blood Scion by Deborah Falaye. I'm so excited. First of all, the cover. Y'all, the freaking cover. I think I hauled this during the summertime and I have not cracked it open yet. I'll mention, just because I did forget, I'm sorry, but this is a HarperCollins imprint, and I think a couple of these are HarperCollins imprints, and they are under a strike. They have been under a strike since like November, and so I will have all the information for the HarperCollins strike and all of that good stuff in the description box below for you guys to check out. But definitely sign that petition if you have not. These people deserve fair wages. So I know that I have a couple of other HarperCollins imprints coming up, but I will have all of that in the description and on the page, all of that good stuff for you guys. So you do know what is a HarperCollins imprint, and just as a reminder to support that union strike. Next up, this is another one that is super duper popular. I picked it up because of its popularity, and I have not even attempted to start reading it, but I do kind of want to go ahead and get the next two books. This is Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco. So this is another one that gets a lot of like back and forth. A lot of people loved the first book, hated the other two, hated the first book, loved the second book, hated the last book, or just hated all three. So I'm really curious to see what this was about. This is kind of like a dark fantasy YA with like a little romance subplot, like YA fantasy. Even though people say the last book does get spicy, so I have feelings about that. But I am curious about getting into this, and I love books that have like maps and like things with like houses and stuff. The inside is really pretty. So I'm excited to get into this. Some people really, really love this series. Other people hate it. I'm hoping that I really enjoy it. It's been on my shelf for over a year, so I got to get to it. Another one that's been on my shelf forever. I picked this up because I think it was my friend Akia from A Love for Me here. She really enjoyed this book. I believe it was her. And this is Deacon King Kong by James McBride. This is one that has been like heavily talked about. It's got the Oprah's Book Club thing going on. So I was like, let me check it out. This is said to be the funny, sharp, and surprising story of the shooting of a Brooklyn drug dealer and the people who witnessed it, from James McBride. I'm really like interested in getting into this. it's been on my shelf forever and I really need to read it. I've heard that it is amazing. So I gotta go ahead and read her. She's been on the shelf too long. This one, I'm just ready to get into the series. I found this special edition and it was so pretty I had to pick it up. But there's also a spin-off series to this. And I want to get those too, but I feel like I need to read this before I get those. And that is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I found this special edition and it's so pretty. I had to get it. That is what it looks like on the inside. And this is also like YA, I think fantasy, kind of like magical realism. People have told me that it is a fantastic YA series. So I'm excited to get into it. Especially because I want to start reading the Ballad of Never After. Or is it Once Upon a Broken Heart and then the Ballad of Never After? So apparently those are based off of a couple of characters that you meet in this book. So I wanted to go ahead and get into this series and wrap it up so I can go ahead and start reading some more. This is the final installment of a series that I started last year and I'm so scared to read it because the second book had me in my feelings. This is Gods and Monsters by Shelby Mahurin. And this is the last book in the Serpent and Dove trilogy. Y'all, this trilogy has had me in my feelings. The first book was really, really good. It is YA. It was really good. The second book made me feel some kind of way. Definitely, like, had that second book kind of, I don't know if we really needed this, but then it also made some decisions by the end that had me like really, really mad. This is kind of that star-crossed lovers type of situation. You're introduced to Lou and Reed. Reed is, I can't remember what they call him, but he's basically like an officer of the church. And he has dedicated his life to God and all things holy and pure. And he ends up running into Lou, who is an undercover witch. She's been running from her mother, who has been trying to sacrifice her entire life. And she ends up in the crosshairs with Reed, and they end up being forced into a marriage. So it's like forced proximity, forced marriage, marriage of convenience. But Reed falls for her anyway. But throughout this entire series, you see him struggling with his own prejudice towards Lou and witches. And I felt like he had come so far at the end of the first book, and then it felt like he was reverting back into that. And I feel like he's going to do it again in this book. And it makes me mad because I like Reed, but at the same time, he's so damn self-righteous that sometimes it makes it difficult to read about Reed. But I love Lou and Reed, and I feel like they play off of each other so well, and they have such a really a beautiful young love. And he has been through so much for her. I just want them to win, and I'm sure they're going to get their HEA, but I'm in my feelings. There were people killed in the last book that I'm very angry about still, but I need to finish this. I need to just go ahead, suck it up, and read the damn book. So Gods and Monsters, I'm going to finish this book soon because I just need to get out of the way. I need to rip the Band-Aid off. This one has been on my shelf for like 2 years, and I need to get it together. This is called The Black Kids by Christina Hammonds Reed. And this is a YA novel that is set in Los Angeles in 1992 during the events surrounding the murder of Rodney King. I'm really interested in this. I honestly don't even remember getting this. I think I might have gotten it as an add-on with a purchase, you know what I'm saying? But it looks really, really good. And I'm really, really interested in this. Again, another one where it's like black girl on the cover. Absolutely. You know, black girl bucking the system. Absolutely. So I can't wait to read this. I feel like this is probably going to be a quick, you know, easy read. I don't know. This kind of gave me Tiffany D. Jackson vibes. And I think that's why I got it. But I'm really excited to check this out. I will let you guys know either here or on my Instagram and TikTok platforms about how I feel about it. This is one that has been suggested to me over and over and over again. And I picked this up in October, but I haven't read it yet. This is a big one in like the Black Book Talk community. And I picked this up in October as like more of a spooky read, but I never got around to reading it. And this is Ace of Spades. I'm so excited to read this. This is like suspense thriller, and I believe this is YA as well. I'm really excited to read this. People have said that it is like riveting, you know, and I feel like anytime you get that suspense and thriller with that social commentary that has that Get Out vibe, it's always good. So I'm super excited to start this. Ace of Spades, you guys let me know if you read it. How do you like it? Next up, I have Iron Widow. This was one that was also suggested to me by you guys. And I can't wait to get into this, especially because I think there is a sequel coming out to this too. And I'm like, I need to read some of these before these sequels come out. Apparently, this is some pretty, like, there's some pretty deep stuff in this. I've been told to check trigger warnings and things like that when going into this book. So I highly suggest that to you guys too. I just picked this up because I got so many recommendations to read this. So I'm excited to get into this one, as well as probably one of the most talked about books in 2022. This was a new release, and I haven't read the trilogy that previously was released by this author. This is Babel by R.F. Huang. And again, this is a HarperCollins imprint, so I will have, again, all that information down below. I won't go into too much detail about this, but this is dark academia, and I don't have a lot of dark academia in my collection. The only other one I have is the Atlas 6. Even though I feel like you could kind of put the Legendborn cycle into like a kind of dark academia subplot, you know what I'm saying? But this one right here has been so heavily talked about, and I'm really excited to get into it. And it seems to be making a whole lot of white people feel some type of way. I don't think they realize that, like, if they feel some type of way, they probably should feel some type of way. They're not ready for that conversation. But I'm excited to get into this. So many people that I love are, like, obsessed with this book. So I can't wait to get into it and see what all the hype is about. And then the last two, these are two of the most talked about Black romances, Black contemporary romances that I have come across. And it's time for me to read these babies. First off, 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I can't tell you how many things I have heard about this book. And so many of you guys have told me, I don't know how you have read Restore Me, but you have not read 7 Days in June. I'm going to read it, guys. I had my eye on this book for a while, even before I got into Book Talk. And then the more I heard people talk about it, I had to pick it up. 7 Days to Fall in Love, 15 Years to Forget, and 7 Days to Get It All Back Again. So a good old second chance romance. I seem to really like second chance romances. From what I've heard from a lot of people, I think that I'm going to absolutely love this. And then also, You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Abike-Iyimide. I am so excited to get into this. This is another one that I have heard people talk about endlessly, and I can't wait to get into it. I have really been interested in getting into Abike-Iyimide's work. They are very popular for a lot of contemporary fiction in general, and I'm really excited to get into this. This was top 10 for a lot of people for 2022. I know my girl Akia is getting ready to get into this. She was trying to remember the name of this in a live the other day, and I was dying because it was like, she had come up with it, like a title in her head, and it made so much sense. And I was like, do you mean a fool of death with your beauty? Do you mean you made a fool of death with your beauty? Because I think that's what she meant, and we were just cracking up. But I'm really excited to get into this. Black romance has been it for me. And also this cover is absolutely beautiful. So I can't wait to get into these two as well. I have the feeling that they're going to be as fabulous as everyone tells me they are. I'm actually going to be starting this guy this week. All right, so that is my 2023 physical TBR. You guys know I'm going to be reading way more than that. Right now my reading goal is at 100 books, and I'll probably read more than that. But these are the ones that are on my physical TBR, on my shelf, that I'm like, bitch, if you don't get up and read that thing. So I'm trying to commit to making sure that I get all of these books that are on my shelf read. I have so many other books on my shelf that I need to read, but these have been chilling. I've just been procrastinating, okay? So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You guys let me know what other types of bookish content you would like to see here and on our other platforms. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm also curious. Let me know, what is your current read down in the comments below. I will have all of these books listed in the description, as well as makeup details, fragrance of the day, and all that good stuff for you as well. I hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to go ride out the storm we have popping up, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Maybe I've been going nowhere lately. It's time to start all over and go.